Okay, Pamela, get ready, because you're next up, even though this question is... Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
So, ma'am, take a deep breath. And we're going to get a drink without getting a picture taken.
Okay. There are areas of the city that have not benefited from private development or infrastructure, such as streetscapes and community amenities. In order to attract development, redevelopment, and gentrification? I don't think that's what that meant to say. To avoid gentrification. To avoid gentrification. I know. You all were getting ready to see it right up in here. How would you propose to address... How would you...
But they're going to answer the question. You just get to read it.
How would you propose to address those areas that may not have benefited from public and private investment and infrastructure to date?
Is that me or
Oh, that is me. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, the areas that have not benefited from private development should be examined very closely. We need to ask the hard questions about why they have not been developed. More than likely it's because the areas are not deemed to be important enough to invest in. Let me stop there for a minute. The citizens that represent districts of Fort Lauderdale have the power, but it's the representatives who choose not to. In a commission meeting one night, the topic of a multi-million-dollar hotel and marina being built off 17th Street Causeway had the residents in that area very concerned. To make things a little easier for those questioning the project, it was required for the developer to clean the adjacent lots and improve them with grass and paved roads. Every business that comes into Fort Lauderdale that projects profits over $10 million annually should be required to make some improvements in these areas, or the city should create a separate trust fund for purposes like these that major businesses can make contributions to and ensure that the improvements stay that way. Not to put the burden on these businesses, but to ensure that every area of Fort Lauderdale has the financial and political backing it needs to improve their way of life. And speaking of gentrification, that is a slippery slope. Of course I want to improve the neighborhoods in the district I live in, but not at the cost of moving elderly people or families on fixed incomes out of the area. Historically, gentrification has been a double-edged sword, but some consider it necessary. I believe that no development is worth uprooting the lives of those you call an area home. If affordable housing is not ensured in an area that is being redeveloped, then we as a community will have turned our backs on those who are less fortunate. That should never be the cost of improvements. Infrastructure is the key, in my opinion. Investment in roadways, streetscapes are a must. Clearing out drug dealers and gang members in areas that have been run down. Hiring more city employees in all departments. Catering to businesses that will bring employment to areas needing it. With employment, a citizen can take the initiative and have the money to improve their property that they live on and maybe help someone else do the same.
As the district commissioner, I see the role as as an advocate, to advocate for funds and projects that will benefit and enhance the amenities that are required by the communities. I think all too often we don't go to our constituents, we don't walk those streets often enough to ask constituents what they need, and that's that's where I see my role as a commissioner would be. My thoughts are that, as Cameron indicated, gentrification is a slippery slope. But I've always said that our community is diverse socially, it's diverse racially, and as far as, and religiously. And we have to have an economically diverse community in order for our community in Northwest Fort Lauderdale to thrive. I've had this conversation with many people over the years, and we can get there through redevelopment efforts and by improving how our neighborhoods look. There are many different tools that the city has that the district commissioner and the residents of the district have to fight for and speak loudly for in order to have them implemented. There are the tools, we just have to work together to implement those tools.
I agree with a lot of what has been said, in this area in regards to diversity and equity of our city neighborhoods, like I stated earlier, we need to paint this vision that the city of Fort Lauderdale is a whole. And if we have the residents of Fort Lauderdale buy into that, then we all take on these challenges together and we all focus on them. So it won't be a matter of we got to find resources or convince someone to put resources in certain areas, because we all feel that we need to come together in that regard. Private investment, I think that I privately invested back into an area, District 3. Once I graduated from college, started out my career, I could have pretty much moved anywhere, but I came back home because I somewhat remember, and I know all the stories that were told and passed down to me, that District 3 was once a very thriving area, and the potential is there. We need to paint that vision so people like myself will come back and invest into the community. And then we need to paint that vision to the city as a whole. And then issues like this, we won't just kind of pigeonhole them. It'll be something that's broad. And that's where you'll bring in the diversity. That's where you'll bring in the investment. You'll bring it in from the private sector and then the public as well.